Yeah, so like the reason our slogan is finding the world's best hidden gems is because basically we connect you guys. So like as properties, your guest is most likely going to be asking you questions about, hey, where should I be go eating? What should I go drink? Like they just want you to tell them what to do basically because you're a local. So we let you monetize those recommendations.
Hey guys, welcome back to the STR Investing Podcast. I'm your co-host Mark Lumpkin, and today I'm hanging out with none other than Maddie Rifkin. She is the CEO and founder of Mount. I'm super excited to have her on the podcast today. We're going to talk about some very interesting stuff that the industry needs to know about and that you can use in your day-to-day operations to help you benefit your business. And so Maddie, thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So would you just touch on who you are a little bit? Just give us a little background on you, let the audience get to know you.
Yeah, of course. So I'm the CEO and founder of Mount. Crazy side fact, I actually have been doing Mount since I was 12 years old. So it has been a journey and a half. I'm 27 now. And we essentially, our brand Mount is a travel company. So we like to say we're finding the world's best hidden gems. And that could be anything from a place to stay, thing to do, thing to eat, really wide cast net there. But what we do to run the entire Mount company is social media, content army, videography, like all of that is our realm. So
I love it.
That's what we
And
do.
it all tends to lead into direct bookings, right? Or organic growth for your business, which
Yeah.
so many operators are trying to find a way to do that
Mhm.
and not losing, building their businesses on the OTAs, right? Is really kind of the end goal.
Yeah. No, totally. Like I can see the beauty behind an OTA, like why they were created. Like these were very dispersed industries, but the fact that they've built themselves to take 35, 45, whatever percentage of your revenue and they're not doing much anymore is insane.
It's crazy. And they own the client. They don't give you any of the client information. You can't follow up. You don't have emails. You don't have phone numbers. They control everything. So I love that. We're gonna dive into that in a minute. It's funny you said that you've been doing Mount for what, 15 years now?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So have you ever seen that meme where it's like you must have 20 years of experience, be under 30 years old, and da 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 to apply for this job? That's totally you.
I'm
You've
so
got
close.
20 years of experience at under 30.
Oh, yeah, I can get there.
That's amazing. They made the meme because of you. So what's the origin stories? Tell us how this started when you were young and then how it's turned into a total machine.
Yeah, I mean, we've made a ton of pivots. Like when I was little, when I was 12, I invented a bike lock of all things and got a patent for it. And so that's actually how it started. Our name on paper, like legally, is Mount Locks Inc. So
Okay.
that's how it all started. But really what brought me into this like short-term rental space was I was working in the scooter industry when that was a thing, like Bird, Lime, Uber, Lyft. We were helping build locks for the scooters. And I just saw the craziness of those startups just literally overnight dropping scooters just in a city and being like, oh, well, let's see what happens. And then obviously complete chaos. And I was like, well, I see where they're getting at. Like tourists actually really liked being on scooters. And I was like, well, let me see if I talk to an Airbnb host what they would feel about like putting a scooter on their property for their guests to rent and give them like a vehicle. So that's how I got into the industry. Really actually didn't even know the short-term rental industry was an industry. I was like a naive person where I was like, oh yeah, it's Airbnb, and then learned so much more that goes into it. And then 3 years later, here I am, learned a lot more. And Mount is, I would say the brand of Mount is rather large in the short-term rental industry, but could anyone tell you exactly what we do? No.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool. I've actually rented those scooters before when I've been in New York City before and in the big cities. They're super fun.
Yes.
So that's interesting how you took that. And so what Mount does now is you guys help like monetize guest guides and experiences and all this stuff that is attached to the stay. Is that correct?
Yeah, so like the reason our slogan is finding the world's best hidden gems is because basically we connect you guys. So like as properties, your guest is most likely going to be asking you questions about, hey, where should I be go eating? What should I go drink? Like they just want you to tell them what to do basically because you're a local. So we let you monetize those recommendations.
That's so cool. And so you guys are connecting hosts with local vendors and then giving them basically a referral program to monetize the recommendations they're making.
Yeah, exactly. And whether it's like specifically you're getting like money back or you're giving your guests discounts, it works differently for every business. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, we get asked all the time. It's like, what are the best restaurants to go to in town? We get a lot of motorcycle guys and they're like, where should we be riding? Where should we be stopping? And so that's really cool. Good for you guys. And so out of that, How did the Content Army, because that's what we're specifically talking about today, how did the Content Army come out of that business that you had?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like as an entrepreneur, everyone's like the best things you build or what your company ends up becoming is something that you've built for yourself first and you've used it. And so that's exactly what the Content Army started as. I was like, okay, we have this product for you guys, hosts and property managers, to monetize those guest recommendations, but our true customer is actually these hidden gem local businesses. Like, they're the ones that pay. This is actually a free tool for you guys. So at the end of the day, they want as many direct bookings as possible. And I was like, we're going to need some sort of direct to consumer component here. Like, travelers just need to know about these things. And so I was like, well, we could go to the traditional route of trying to reach out to influencers, or who we think are influencers, figure out if they're good or not, which is like an incredibly hard thing to do, and then pray and hope that when you pay them thousands of dollars that they actually deliver that piece of content and it does something. And there's absolutely no way to track it, by the way. Like, they can post, but you have no idea what it's doing for you. So I was like, there has to be a better way. Looked around, there was nothing out there that was different than that process. And so I was like, well, there's a ton of people that just love to travel, and they travel the Mount way, which is like sustainable, ethical, responsible, hidden gems. So I started reaching out to them, and I was like, what if I could turn you into an influencer and you represent Mount as a whole? You become a Mount steward, you join this Content Army. And I just started talking about it on TikTok, and it went viral, like in the millions. And people were like, yes, sign me up. This is great. And I was like, okay, we have something here. So for the last year and a half, we've been building internally the Content Army, which basically takes a normal person that has the dreams and aspirations to become an influencer. We take them through our application process, which is super rigorous. It also includes a personality test type thing. And out of that, we've had over 10,000 people do this. I was actually able to do like a data study on who it makes a good creator. And so out of that, we get like pretty good results. We've accepted 40 so far out of the 10,000. So we have like a worse acceptance rate, or better acceptance rate
than Harvard.
Yeah. And once you get accepted, we run you through our education program. So we're taking you and teaching you about the short-term rental industry, experience industry specifically, because I don't know about you, Mark, but as a host, the amount of people / influencers that reach out wanting free stays over Christmas, holidays, other things, and you're just like, I'm not sacrificing that revenue for this. Like, and the influencer just doesn't know. It didn't occur to them like, okay, that's how that business is run. So we educate on that. We educate on storytelling. And like, to put this into real context, one of our first ever stewards, Lily, she came in with like 300 or 400 followers. In a matter of like 3 or 4 months, she has over 80,000 followers now.
Damn.
Insane. She's an incredible storyteller. So we have all this influencer power now. And we're like, what do we do with this? And so most recently, we've been partnering with property managers to run retreats. So we'll bring like 8 to 10 influencers in. We get amazing content. You guys get amazing content. It's a very much win-win situation. And then fast forward to like now, in the LinkedIn post I made a few days ago, we're like, what happens if we lease out or rent out the Content Army to other businesses and brands who might also struggle with what we did, which was like, how do you work with influencers and content creators cost effectively? And
or where do you even start?
Like, where do you even start? Yeah. So now we're looking at taking on more clients in that way, where we basically become your strategist. We'll put together the entire plan and then deploy the Content Army for you.
Cool. So not only are you guys helping people put together the plan, how you tell the story, where you make the posts, how you do the hashtags, all that stuff. You're giving them the playbook for social media, but then you're jump starting it with like a shot of adrenaline by saying, not only are we going to help you tell the story, we're going to have 10, 15, however many people tell that story with you, so that we just blast it out to the masses.
Totally. And your brand awareness spikes, and then you're not starting at zero, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So I've got a friend who had launched a new property, and he had done that with a couple of traveler influencers, and he did it well, and it resulted, I think he told me it was like 200 grand in direct bookings.
Wow.
For the next like year or so. He only has calendar open for a year, but he's like, I realized after this hit and we went viral and we had done such a good job on this, not easy to do, not saying this is easy, but he had done it well. And he's like, we had underpriced our property. We didn't realize that we would get so many bookings. We should have charged more. So clearly this is powerful. And you guys I want to circle back, because you said that you use this to help grow your business, right? You'd use the same playbook.
Yeah. No, so the playbook was really built for Mount, and then I was like, oh yeah, there's capabilities here way past our company, but we went from like a few hundred followers to like we're in over 170,000 followers now. Not our our main focus has not recently been growing our following. We did that a while ago, and we're like, okay, let's
Sure.
shift goals. But yeah, no, we use the Content Army all the time for ourselves and for the businesses we work with. So like I mentioned loosely how we work with those hidden gem businesses that are really ma and pa, like been there for years. You guys all probably know what they are because you want to work with them, whether they're running like a boat rental company or like a food tour, there's many of those. We really help them as well because on the visibility side, it's almost even worse than what you get with short-term rental. Like it's just, how do you Google for something you don't even know exists? And so, yeah, we help them on the content creation side. So like we'll send in one creator and they'll create like a few pieces of content, really get them started as well.
That's so cool. Yeah, you touched on, there's so much to unpack there, but you touched on something that I've experienced in my own life too, is how do you Google for an experience or a hidden gem or a mom and pop, something you didn't even know, especially in the travel world, you don't. And I can tell you how many times me and my wife are traveling, you know where she goes? She goes to TikTok. And she's like, oh my gosh, check out this crazy restaurant in New York City. We've got to go try that. We would have never, ever in a million years been able to find that restaurant through a Google search or anything. And we've planned, like, I hate this term, but we've planned TikTok vacations.
Yeah.
Where she's like, yeah, we're going to go to this hot spring because I saw it on TikTok and I saw the hike and I know how to get there and da-da-da. And this girl went there and she wore these boots. I got the same boots because I like the boots. I'm like, it's just crazy. And that's how people are traveling nowadays. And that's how they're finding these really great, cool opportunities. So I love that you guys are helping people unlock that.
Oh, absolutely. And like educating the process too, because I think what I have found is that it's almost like a blue ocean when it comes to just social media. And what I found too is like no one knows what the proper words are. Like content creator, influencer, social media manager, like these are all the same thing essentially. And it's like, how do you do it? How do you track it? If you try and go like traditional marketing approach where you're like, I need to know the exact ROI, how many link clicks, Google Analytics, you're going to set yourself up for failure because that is not how social media works.
For sure.
And so, it's just an uphill battle when it comes to education. But then you find people like yourself, Mark, who just get it and like want to do it. And those are like the funnest people to work with because the more creative you get within this social media channel, the better you're going to perform. And you just have to be okay with that.
Definitely. And what's super interesting about social media is obviously there's a lot of great guys out there that put out a lot of good content, guys and gals, but it's more about the individual piece of content now than ever. Yep. Versus the actual following. And so, like I remember when I very first started on LinkedIn, I had like 1,000 followers, and I had a post get like 200,000 views.
Whoa!
And I was like, that's crazy, or impressions, or whatever they call it. I'm like, that's crazy. And then I went and looked at like someone with 5 million followers on the same day. They made a post, and they got like 50 likes. And I'm just like, these platforms definitely reward the individual content way over the actual followers. And it used to be the opposite. Used to be, you have 1 million followers, you make a post, you get 1 million views or 1.5 million. Now, someone with 100 followers gets 1 million views and someone with 1 million followers gets 100 views. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. And I think the pricing structure is like, I say that laughing because there is no pricing structure, but like need to catch up because it's also why macro influencers, people who have millions of followers, are having a hard time right now getting the brand deals is because people recognize exactly what you just said. Like the influence that person once had is a lot less now just because the 3 million followers, yeah, that's a great vanity metric, but like how many of them are actually engaged with that person still and like still think that person is like gospel in anything they say?
Exactly. Yeah, it's this, remember that ad that Snoop Dogg did with the fireplace, the outdoor fireplace. It was a smokeless fire pit.
Yep.
And it was like the most viral social media post ever. But then the CEO of the fire pit company came out and said, we didn't sell any more fire pits than we had the quarter before. So it didn't really matter. So that leads me to my next question. If you guys have done this for your own business, I know I'm not asking for metrics and the exact results, but what were the results from getting a bunch of views and having this content army out there? Did it drastically change your business flow and how many deals you got?
Yeah, I mean, it really did. I mean, for us, we have a few different ways we make money. So like one of the metrics we look at is website traffic and just traffic to the hidden gems.
Sure.
So yeah, when we have the content army like fully deployed, when we're doing these retreats and pumping out like 5,000 pieces of content in a few days, like yeah, the hit is crazy to the website traffic. You just see it go straight up, and you're like, perfect, that's exactly what we need. And then I think brand awareness too
That's huge.
is insane. I always say I built Mount backwards because our brand is quite large in terms of like what we stand for. People know the word Mount, they know me. But in terms of our products, we've been really trying to figure out which one is going to be the one that we want to scale and stick with and grow. So
Yeah, that's awesome. So have you guys, when you do those retreats or when you build all this content, is it your social media game plan for a few months, or is this something that you deploy all in a very short period of time?
no, it's deployed all in a very short period of time. So
Okay.
basically the way we have found the blueprint that works for the retreats is we film everything in a matter of like 3 or 4 days. And I think actually now we're up to like 4 or 5 days. We realized we needed like an extra day to like really be creative. And then we have a special album that allows us to share all of the content together, which is a company called Swoosh, actually. Super incredible. Like, I don't actually think we use their product correctly, but this is what we use it for. Now this album has like all this raw footage in there, like tens of thousands of clips. It's insane. And then basically we plan, so we don't live post just for safety reasons. Some of our creators do have a fair amount of followers. We're like, we don't want to get stalked, but we basically plan for like 3 or 4 days after, where we're going to pretend like we're here, and we're going to live story post and get all our posts out. And so that way, all this 10 to 15 creators are all posting at the exact same time, days, and then we're reposting, they're reposting, and it just amplifies everything to the point where Casey and I are here in New York, and we were with our friends, and they're like, wait, I thought you were in Hawaii because you're posting as if you're in Hawaii right now. Like, it really does look real. And then after that ends, like, there is kind of like a just reposting, resharing, and then we will repurpose the content, which is why it's amazing to have. And like, we work with, like, Cassiola, for example, was one of the ones we worked with this year. They now have content for days. Like, and if they want us to keep editing it, we can do that. If they want to put in like a full social media strategy with all the content we got, they totally can. It's just a matter of like bandwidth on their end and the company's end. But
Sure. So
yeah.
we did a project for Dennis down in Clearwater in Florida, in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be a great content house. Like that
Oh
house
my
has
God, yes.
it's got bunk beds with slides. So okay, cool. And then do you feel like it's almost like a jump start? You jump start the car and you get it going 100 miles an hour, and then you got some traction where you can maybe like glide a little ways and it keeps you going for a while? Or is it one of those things that dies off pretty quickly after you do a huge release and launch like that?
So you need to be prepared. So when we first did a few of these retreats, the partners we worked with, and us, to be honest, like, we're not prepared for the aftermath of like, oh my God, what did we just do, in a good way? And so there was no strategy in place for like, okay, how do we keep this momentum going? How many days a week are we going to post? What are we posting about? What is the strategy? Like, who are we trying to attract? And if you don't have that stuff in place, yeah, this can totally fizzle out, and you'll see the effects for the first like few days. But after that, if no one is posting anymore, then you're going to go back to square zero. So it's kind of like, we give you a head start, but if you stop in your tracks, like, that is not going to be a head start much longer. So like, for example, the best company that executed this really well, we came in with like 10 influencers, got all of this content, but pre that trip, we had been working with that company for like a month, planning strategy, figuring out tools they're going to use for content scheduling, editing, everything. They hired us to do some of the editing post the trip. And then they ran a series for 30 days, and it was like day 1 of 30, and I can't remember the exact what the series was about, but it had such a lasting effect that they grew like by tens of thousands of followers just with that series. And then from there, they can throttle back how much they're posting. It's not like a daily thing, but that works really well. Yeah.
So it's a crazy jump start. It's a crazy jump start that you need to be prepared for. And then you obviously have to build off of that and continue the strategy.
Totally.
But I would assume that people are also able to learn a lot from you guys. Like you said, you do a lot of consulting and teaching and learning that then they can implement for weeks, years, months to come, right? And to continue to on to what they started with.
Yeah, exactly. And what we've started to do actually too is, like, depending where you are based, we'll match you with one of our content creators. Like, we call them stewards. so that after we work with you and you get that big hit, they are on a monthly retainer with you now, and they're acting as your social media manager. So they can do all the editing because they're trained on it. They can do all the posting. They have all the content now. And so instead of you having to basically step into that role because you're incredibly busy, you just let one of our people do it for you. And now you have like this full-fledged person on your team that's like crushing it.
That's so cool. And honestly, the results, like you said, that sometimes they're hard to measure, but also like for our business, we were able to measure it year over year, and the total amount of volume of business that we've gotten from organic social media, and we are not doing it nearly to the level you guys are. Like we're barely even scratching the surface, but we're at least trying, and it's been tangible. It's been really measurable, and it's really cool to see how you can go from no business from social media to a crazy amount of business. Basically, no matter what you're doing, no matter what service you offer or product you sell, you can overnight drastically change the bottom line of your business by adding a lot of new top of funnel stuff. Mm-hmm. That's really, really cool. And you guys probably, how long did it take you at Mount to like realize like, oh, this like there's something here?
Yeah. I mean, so I will say it's not, yeah, for like, I always tell our clients and anyone we work with, like, give it at least 6 months, because this is not like an overnight thing. Like, the algorithms need time to realize that you're consistently posting now. They need time to realize what your strategy is. But once you get that momentum after the 6-month period, you also can't stop. So you've started the boulder down the hill. Like, it just needs to keep going. But just mentally give yourself to 6 months to see it start working is what I would say.
Is that about how long it took you guys when you did this for the first time?
Yeah, when we fully went in on content, like it took us a while to figure out like what our voice was on social media, what our strategy was. Like we started with a lot of trend videos, and we're like, okay, that gives you good little hits, but it's not really building your brand presence. And then we just had to learn, right? Like it's just kind of weird to be on social media. So you have to figure out like who you are, what are you doing? And typically with our clients too, like 6 months is kind of the benchmark we see for
the
them.
Benchmark.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. And so you had mentioned earlier property managers and how you've had a lot of success with some property managers. You obviously name dropped a really big one, Cassiola. Those guys do great business. But do you think that outside of property managers, there's other businesses in the short-term rental space that could really benefit from something like this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really just depends. Like, I would say everyone needs good content. And actually, this is hilarious. And the fact that I'm saying this is just funny. But Guesty actually just came up on my Instagram, and they have started running ads, which is not organic, but the piece of content they're using, like props to whoever's making that there. I don't know if they bought UGC content or it's like in-house, but they have really good quality content that they're running as ads, and it's really showing off the software and stuff. So like, I do think there's room for vendors to do this organically as well. You really just need to figure out like who's the audience that needs to watch this content and what do they want to consume, and then make that content. I will say where it gets muddled though is like, so we did work with a pretty large property management company, but they balance trying to secure owners and then also trying to get direct bookings. And so then they thought, let's use one piece of content to do both. And I was like, well, no, you can't, because that's completely different audiences. You almost need 2 different Instagram accounts because the messaging and branding is going to be so different. So I would just say like, that's the most common pitfall I see people hop into when they are trying to get on social media or build a strategy, is like they want one piece of content to do everything, and it really can't. And a great example of this is like one of the clients we work with in oh shoot, I don't remember where they are, but basically the first objective for the content was like, okay, we need to get you guys some followers because you don't have many and no one's going to take you seriously. So first month was just all about acquiring followers. And I'm like, just so you know, this probably isn't going to drive bookings. Those are 2 very different objectives, 2 different styles of content. Once we had the followers, then I was like, okay, next month, this objective, only drive bookings. And the difference we've seen is crazy. Like we grew by like 20,000 followers when the objective was that. Now that the objective is grow bookings, like it is bringing in thousands of dollars in bookings, but it's brought in like 300 followers. And it's just nice to see that that's actually true. So just, make sure you're not asking too much of your social media people, because they're going to get very overwhelmed.
For sure. I love that. That's really cool. I do think one thing that's really under talked about is the credibility and like knowing the person before you ever meet them. And what's funny is this is the very first time we've ever been on a video call. We never even talked on the phone before, a couple messages here and there. But as soon as you got on, the first thing you're like, I feel like I just know you. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I know you because we follow each other on social media. And from a business perspective, if you're it's no longer a cold lead. If you get on a call with someone and they say, oh yeah, I've been following you guys on social media for 6 months and I love everything you're doing. I can tell you from being on the front line of selling products, your closing percentage immediately doubles or triples when that person already knows you, trusts you, and recognizes you. And social media can be a really powerful way to do that. And so it might not be, like you'd said, it might not be tangible right off the bat where you're saying, oh, yep, this lead came specifically from social media. We converted them at this dollar amount and there's the ROI. But it can certainly help boost closing and make you more dollars because you're getting your brand out there. People are recognizing, knowing, and trusting you. And I think that's understated in the social media world.
Yeah, exactly. No, I couldn't have said it better.
Cool. So what else do we need to know? What's the future look like for you guys? So we know where you started. You've got a brand that's super successful, that you've used this to help grow. What's the next iteration? Where do we go from here?
Yeah, I honestly think our mandate now for like moving forward is a lot of education. I've seen so much just misinformation, misunderstanding of really how to use content. And I just think there's such better ways than what people are telling you right now. So really expect from us, we plan to launch a podcast where we're going to interview our content creators and just like get their take for each episode. My goal would be, Mark, you actually gave me the idea, but we run retreats for our creators, one for them to learn, but two, to also do this huge brand awareness play. I also think there's room for us to run events targeted at you guys where you get to come and just be a sponge and soak up everything you need to learn about running a business and how social media becomes a marketing channel for you and what that means. And whether that's in the form of a retreat, which I honestly think would be pretty fun, or in form of like a day-long event, I do think that is in our future. And then, yeah, honestly, like we're just excited to see who wants to work with the content army and what we can do on that front.
Cool. I love it. Yes, I would love to be part of a retreat. Let's do it. Let's do it at a couple of STR Cribs houses.
Oh my
Those
God,
are epic houses you guys can do some great content at. Because it's like, I'm only 32 years old, but I feel like a dinosaur sometimes because I'm like, I didn't know that this social media app, or I didn't know that this person had 14 million followers and da-da-da-da-da. It's understated how powerful it is. And we even see today, like in the political world, we see mainstream media dying. And some kid on Twitch gets more views than Jimmy Kimmel on late night TV. You know what I mean? It's just crazy how powerful it is. So don't sleep on it.
Totally.
And so, yeah, that's super exciting. And then I've got a couple of questions, some rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. What is your favorite social media platform personally?
TikTok.
Okay. What is a social media platform that you think is up and coming that a lot of us might not know about or might not think this is going to be as powerful as it is?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
And that can maybe even just be something like becoming more powerful than it is right now.
I honestly think LinkedIn has a lot of room to grow. They're like just starting to recognize that they have creators on their platform. I don't think they understand how to do anything with it, but I have seen the power of just having a voice on LinkedIn. It's insane.
Crazy. Okay, what's your favorite travel destination?
Favorite? Oh my God, that's such a hard question.
Doesn't have to be your favorite. What's been a recent one that's been great that you visited?
Honestly, Iceland was like so amazing. I need to go back. It was just incredible.
So cool. Did you do the drive around the island?
I didn't do the whole island because we went in the wintertime and like there would be times where we were driving and it would be a complete whiteout. The road would disappear and we just had to stop. So no, but we went like up and then all the way to the other side of the island, which was fun. Just
cool. Did you do the blue pool? Like the really cool lagoon, the Blue Lagoon?
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, that place is epic. Did it snow on you while you were there?
It did. So
Oh my gosh. Totally jealous. That's awesome. Cool. Well, any departing wisdom for those of us listening in that are totally old school and are totally missing out on social media, or we realize the power of social media, we're just not capitalizing on it just yet. What else do we need to know? Any departing wisdom for us?
I mean, honestly, I would just get started. The time is now. It's kind of like when they tell you, like, just start your business, you know? It's the same with social media. And then, yeah, if you want to, like, follow me on LinkedIn or reach out, like, I'm just happy to jam on all this stuff. I really like the strategy component, so super fun to talk about. But, yeah, if you walk away with anything today, 1, follow me on LinkedIn. 2, go get started on social media.
I love it. Thanks for all your time today, Maddie. And I'm hoping next time we chit chat, it's announcing like a cool retreat or something for creators. And
Oh yeah.
the short term rental industry has got so much room to grow. It's so young. And I love what you guys have been doing. Been a big fan
Thank
and
you.
keep after it. So thanks for being on the STR Investing Podcast.
Thanks, Mark.
Guys, tune in next week. Every Friday, we're dropping new content. Every Monday, we're doing Monday market reports. And we had an epic guest. Make sure you follow her on social media. We'll drop all of Maddie's links, and then check out her business Mount and even look into the Content Army. So thanks again, Maddie.